Hello and welcome to Education Update. I'm Nyesha McCauley, and joining me as always is Paul Holzer.
Great to be here.
Well, Paul, we are here in July, and actually July 23rd. And we had our first July board meeting happen yesterday. And one of the neat things about our new format is that we're giving you an update of what happened at the board meeting, a recap of what happened at the board meeting, and we'll see how this works, how this format works for our viewing audience.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So a couple of interesting things did happen at yesterday's board meeting. We have 4 new principal appointments, so change in leadership at some of our schools.
Every year, right? There's just always a lot of turnover, so for some good reasons, sometimes for bad reasons, but this is a big deal. So who's come in?
So a shift, really, in Melanie Brady.
Oh, that's right.
Because she's what's formerly Annie Fisher.
Annie Fisher STEM.
Yeah. And so she's going to be going over to Hartford Public High School's Nursing Academy.
Yeah, she did like a pit stop at the Betances STEM to kind of launch that new STEM magnet school with Tyrone Richardson, right? And but I guess this is where she's landing. Mm-hmm. But it's an acting principal position, correct?
Right.
Yeah, so she's really got to prove herself first. Which I guess, I mean, she's one of the rock star principals of Hartford Public Schools, but she's a magnet school principal, I think, through and through. I think she came up through sports medical sciences. And so this is going to be a real new test for her. So we'll have to see what the high school community, the Hartford Public High School community, I think she'll be embraced, of course, but I think people are going to be waiting to see how she does. A little different than the magnet school. A
little different. So Zanderlyn Gordon, some people may recognize that name. Zanderlyn was previously at Hartford Public High School, really prior to the new academy system that's now in place there. So prior to law and government and the different academies. But she's going to classical magnet. So.
Okay, so they're bringing back an old name, an old face.
Yep.
That's great. So she should do well at classical magnet, you think?
I do. And, the beauty of classical, for all the folks who remember, it came out of Hartford High, so there's always that fondness that people remember about the classical program being birthed at Hartford High and grew into this great program.
Yeah, I always forget about that. That's great.
Yeah.
So who else do we have?
So we also have Victoria Morse, who is coming in at Annie Fisher STEM.
Oh, that's right. So she's really kind of taken over for Brady, Melanie Brady.
Yeah.
She's got to keep the legacy of that great school going.
Yeah. That's some positive stuff happening over there. So Toria Wilson is going to be at High School Inc. And this is actually a great transition because as we know, Terrell Hill has moved on to take another position, but Toria was his mentee.
That's great.
So they should see a nice transition there in leadership.
I wish every school really did that. You had a principal there, a founding principal of that school, right? He was involved with the design even. I think he did 5 full years there. The whole last year, I've been told he was really kind of cultivating Toria, really getting her ready for this position, really putting her out front. I mean, if every school could do that, it'd be phenomenal, right? Because you have to think that Toria is not only ready, but excited to have a long tenure there.
Right.
So we'll see.
Yeah. So all of these are acting appointments. So all of them have to really prove themselves in this coming school year. So, the other thing that was interesting about last night's board meeting is that this was the first board meeting for our new superintendent.
Yeah, how did she do?
One of the comments made by board chair Richard Waring was that, the public commentary was short. And not to expect that. Like, don't expect that. This is an anomaly.
That's right. This is the middle of the summer, right? Wait till the first meeting of the school year or the second meeting.
So the jury's still out.
Yeah. Well, I think I was there at the meeting for the first half, and she looked very comfortable. Very enthusiastic. One of the things I think people are coming to like about her, right? She's got a lot of high energy, a lot of positive energy, but she's gonna have a big year ahead of her. I mean, there's some major issues that she's going to have to tackle, right? I mean, she's really kind of put forth this equity warrior type of brand for herself. And that's great, but you got to back that up, right?
Yeah. So other challenges that may come up during the school year, equity, definitely one of them. Choice is another one that she's going to have to grapple with.
Well, and choice and equity go hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of the folks that have struggled through choice and through their options, or who aren't happy about their options, because there's a lot of inequity, right? So.
Right.
And if the new superintendent really wants to make sure that folks who are choosing a neighborhood school feel like they're choosing as good a school, or a school that's, say, as well funded as a magnet school, it's going to be very hard, because resources are incredibly tight. And there may even be some consolidation of schools down the pike. So, some of the schools are overcrowded, but some of them are, half full. So,
True.
I expect there to be a number of really tough issues that have a really strong impact on the community to happen at some point this year.
Right.
Later in the year, most likely, after she's gotten, real understanding of what's going on.
Right. And, we're just at the beginning of the school year, and there also is the potential for more talent to leave the district.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen. I mean, she already has to fill some pretty big holes. I think there's a chief academic officer hole, I think, at the district. But she did fill her chief of staff hole, right?
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
She did. That was approved at last night's board meeting as well. She's bringing in someone from Montgomery County.
Yeah,
right?
Someone that she worked with. I think it was a special assistant to James Starr, who was her superintendent in Montgomery County. And it was Ghislaine Nunu.
Yes.
So, folks, it's a very hard spelling. She's from Cameroon, but it's Ghislaine Nunu. And as a chief of staff, right, I mean, she's critical to a lot of things are going to flow through her in the district, but people also need to know her. I mean, people will be interacting directly with her on key issues. So hopefully Ghislaine starts to get to know the community, and that people get to know her too, and that it works out great.
Right. Yeah. So, to address some of these challenges and how Chief Hartford feels, we can be helpful. We have, at the same board meeting, we released our first annual open letter to the superintendent and to the Hartford community. Really, it's our long view, looking back, but also looking forward at potential and opportunities, and just really 4 priorities that if everyone, as you said in your comments, just get in the game with these 4 priorities, just the potential of this district is sky's the limit for where we can go.
Yeah, the sky really is the limit. I think we're so focused on what is missing all the time, right? It's like, this is lacking and this is lacking, this is lacking. But, if we can try to really collaborate at a much higher level, I think we can achieve some amazing things. And I think one of the things that we've learned as an organization, 6 years old now, next week we've been 6 years old, is that a lot of times you have a lot of resources in your community, but you've got to get people to align their resources towards specific problems and solutions. So that's going to be the name of the game, is people working together. And so everyone has their priorities. We're asking everyone to figure out what it is your priority for the coming year, and how do you want to plug in. But we also have, four priorities that we think everyone can rally around, and I think everyone needs to rally around to some degree if we're going to have a chance of succeeding, right? And so these are some of the lessons we've learned, but also where we need to go. So communicating broadly and deeply, right? Leadership at all levels of the community better find more effective ways to start sharing information and being very transparent about it. Building much more trusting relationships, right? The superintendent, the mayor, the board chair, city council president, city council members, board members. I mean, people really need to actually know each other and feel like they're playing on the same team. Because if you don't have that trust, forget about it.
Right.
But also, just really within government, we were talking about just leaving the egos at the door. I mean, I think people need to take this idea of team and trust and say, okay, I can have a trusting relationship with a CEO, or I can have a trusting relationship with this community leader, but just within the inner circle, we really need to see people come together and say, change management in the city is the responsibility of the mayor's office, the school district, the board of ed, city council. Here's how we're working together. So, and then lastly, focus on execution over strategy. We talk about this all the time. Make sure what you're trying to do, Hartford Public Schools, is actually happening. And there's roles in our letter that you talked, our open letter for everyone to play to actually make sure that the focus stays on execution. So,
yeah. So that letter is available on our Facebook page, and you follow us on Twitter, and also on our website. So check it out. But it's available and accessible because everyone has a role to play, and it's just some basic foundational stuff of where you can start to plug in more.
And we're not going to ask people to step their game up without stepping up our game.
Right.
So you're going to see a lot more of Achieve Hartford towards the end of the summer and into the fall. It's going to be a huge year for us too, trying to get out there and help more people plug in.
Yeah.
So I think last thing of note around the Board of Ed meeting is that there was a Welcome Center report, and it seemed like everyone on the board was incredibly happy with the work of the Welcome Center, and they've had some good results. So kudos to the Welcome Center folks and to the board for prioritizing that. Family engagement is much bigger than the Welcome Center, so let's not forget that there's still so far to go on the family engagement piece, but at least they're figuring out the Welcome Center and how to make that add a lot more value.
Yeah. So before we go, just want to remind folks that tomorrow night at the Hartford Public Library there will be a candidate forum. This is an election year, and it all depends on you getting out there and voting. So we have 2 contested races basically. This is a primary for state senator and also state rep. So we have Sean Wooden, who is seeking Eric Coleman's seat. And then we also have Donna Thompson-Daniel, who is seeking Doug McCory's seat. So 2 very key positions, leadership positions in the city. So go out.
Come on out.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah, it's going to be.
What time is that again?
That is at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, Harvard Public Library?
Yeah, the downtown branch.
All right.
Yeah. So
sounds good.
stuff. So Paul, until next time, we'll be back once more, I believe, prior to the Board of Ed meeting, but then again after for a recap.
That's right, every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Yeah. But in the meantime, please give us your feedback. We welcome your comments, questions, and suggestions about any education topic that you want to talk about. So.
Thanks so much, Nyesha.
All right, thanks, Paul.
Take care.
Yeah.